go down in the DM. It go down, it go down. It goes down in the DM. It go down in the DM. It go down, tell it.
How's it going, Rams? And welcome to another virtual Down in the DMs. My name is Ethan Bird, joined by Rachel Hallam and Ellison Hubbard, of course. And we've got a great little segment ready for y'all today. Now we'll go into our first little topic. Warren Action Jackson took this last whole football season off to prepare for the NFL draft, which is on Thursday. A little over 1,700 yards and 14 touchdowns with the Rams. He's looking to be the next guy to keep that wide receiver mentality for CSU going. Where do you see him getting picked up in the draft this weekend?
For me, I've played with Warren. I know Warren very well. And of course, everybody wants to go first round, first draft pick, but after names and things being called, I kind of see Warren going maybe third, maybe fourth. And I'm thinking a team that really needs a wide receiver. And I'm going to go off a limb. I feel like, the Patriots is somebody might really need to pick up a wide receiver. They need somebody out there. It doesn't matter, young, old, whatever the case may be. They need somebody in there that's tall, lengthy, and can get down the field and catch the ball. And Warren Jackson is that person.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it would be nice to see him go first round, but it's probably not what's going to happen. I mean, with an entire season taken off to get him to be at the point where he wants to be to go to the draft. I mean, that's a long time, and he missed a lot of games. I know that's always a good thing, though, because he's working on himself and he's getting himself to the point where he, like I said, wants to be to get to the draft. But, I mean, I don't see it. Like, he has very good strengths when it comes to his play. I just think that on a team like CSU, he needed a little more view on him most of the time to get to a first round draft. But yeah. I can see him going maybe late day 2, early day 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm seeing Warren as more of a 5th through 6th round guy, maybe pushing it late 4th round. But, I mean, a lot of that is because he opted out for this year, but it makes sense. It was at the height of the pandemic. You don't know how coronavirus can affect an athlete's body, and it makes sense that he would take a year off for that. Obviously, his draft stock would have gone up. He would have played a whole nother season in the Mountain West that doesn't have the deepest cornerbacks. He could have showed out some more, probably hit that 2,500 receiving yards mark for his career for CSU. But that's what happens, and that's what precautions take, and that might make him more of a sleeper pick. Like you said, the Patriots are going to be looking for a wide receiver. The Bears are going to be looking for a wide receiver. Jets are going to be looking for a wide receiver, and maybe even the Lions. I think that whatever team lands Warren is going to be landing someone who can play at an elite level. He's one of the better jump ball wide receivers in the whole draft, just because he's so tall and lanky with an almost 7-foot wingspan. Like that's like he makes up for his lack of a vertical and a lack of speed just with how long he is and how dominant he can be in an area. He turns a 50-50 ball into like a 65-35 ball on a good day. And any even NFL cornerback is going to struggle with a guy like him.
Yeah. And Warren, he I think CSU really needed him this season, but they only played 4 games, so it wouldn't have really mattered anyway because he really didn't have a season. Now, the good thing for him is his combine, he had 22 scouts there. That is pretty impressive. And from what I've heard, because we were locked out of there and we couldn't really get in, he had really good numbers, really impressive numbers. So, I'm seeing that 3rd, 4th round in him because of the way he performed when all eyes were just on him. There was nobody else there to even, be in that way of him. So I'm seeing pretty high for Warren. And like you said, the height and his wingspan, being able to catch that ball makes up for his speed. And if he can continue to get his speed built, then it's going to be like, oh, he's fast, he's tall, and he can catch the ball at any critical moment. Yeah, that's what we need right there. But, as of now, I just think 3rd, 4th round for him.
And I do have a question for you very quick, since you do play ball. How long, and I'm sure that, scouts are asking this question about Warren also, how much of a toll does a year off from playing take? Like, he's been training and he's been working with trainers, but a year off from actually playing ball, How does that affect your game?
Man, honestly, a year off is like you're just training, you're doing speed and working out, but you're not really hitting anybody. You're not really getting any competition. 7-on-7 isn't as like aggressive as hitting somebody. So yeah, the benefits of taking a year off would be I'm getting my body rested, getting it recovered. I'm getting the things I need to be able to be this fast beast on the field or strong beast on the field. But again, you need that hitting, that contact, a few games to show that, hey, I'm going against maybe, let's say, Iowa or whoever the case may be, Alabama, and I'm going off on them. That looks way better than I'm running around in shorts catching a ball.
Yeah.
So for me, I think it kind of affects how you get drafted and how you get looked at according to a guy who's played a season against competition.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, scouts aren't most likely going to go to your practice all the time and watch you do these little tiny drills. I mean, he's probably doing the same drills. He's probably getting his route running down to a T. I mean, he wants to clean that up. He wants to get his speed going. So, I mean, there's not going to be scouts that are always going to be wanting to come to your practices. They want to see you in gameplay, like you said. Like 7-on-7 might be a whole lot different than actually playing in a game with more competition and an entire team up against you.
Exactly.
And we'll really see how much it did affect him come doubtedly Thursday, but most likely Friday or even Saturday to see where the next Ram goes, the next level Ram, Warren Jackson. I mean, he's going to get drafted. It's just a matter of where and by who. And now further, more draft talk. Broncos, Justin Fields. That's the biggest rumor, one of the biggest rumors going around the NFL in the draft right now. 49ers just jumped up to the third pick. Is it even feasible that the Broncos are able to land Justin Fields at number 9? What do they have to do? Or should they even do
it? I mean, how much do you believe in Drew Lock? Basically, is he going to be the front runner for now on, or do you want competition? And looking from ESPN general manager, the Broncos general manager said, we want competition for him. So could Fields be drafted then, or as talk's been said, Trey Lance, Justin Fields to the Falcons? I mean, there's so many possibilities. If Trey Lance, or I don't really think the Falcons are going to get Trey Lance, but if they do, then Justin Fields then is looked at for the Broncos. But then again, you have the Jets up here, because we all know Trevor Lawrence is going to the Jags.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have the Jets, and then we hear Zach Wilson. And then you still have Justin Fields in the air, but then you hear the 49ers need a quarterback. So now we're like, who is going to get who? So I think that Justin Fields might get picked up before the Broncos can even get to him. And I think the Broncos are trying to look for a quarterback, because after what happened last year, even though it was COVID, you had no quarterback to go in the game. I mean, and even if you had any other quarterbacks, it wouldn't have made a difference. You might as well just have kept that wide receiver in the game. I think the Broncos aren't going to be able to get any of those top 4 quarterbacks.
I think it'd be crazy if he got down to that 9th spot for the Broncos. I mean, for the Jets, we already talked about it. They need a quarterback badly. They just traded Sam Darnold. They're done with him. They need a quarterback to fill in that position. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence is going to Jacksonville, which would be a huge shock if that didn't actually go through. But, never going to happen. But Justin Fields, I mean, he is a great player. Zach Wilson has had a lot of hype around his name recently, especially after his pro day, and that's great. But I think Justin Fields is more of an upside to Zach Wilson than or Mac Jones than he's kind of projected at right now. I mean, Wilson, he's kind of concerning because he has a very slight frame, and all these players just need a good offensive line. So no matter where they're going, it's going to be difficult for them, especially this early in the draft. I mean, the Jets, if they possibly go to the Broncos, I just think, I don't know. I don't think Justin Fields is going to make it farther than maybe the 3rd or 4th pick. So I don't think he has a chance to get to the Broncos.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, it's going to be tough, but it really just depends on how all of these executives grade these 4 or 5, quarterbacks. I think Zach Wilson goes out at number 2 to the Jets. I think that's a pretty pretty easy one just because, Zach Wilson almost seems like a better Sam Darnold. They're basically the
They
exact
play
same
pretty
quarterback.
similar. Yes, exactly.
They're the exact same quarterback, and it's the Jets management. They're not going to take a risk. They haven't taken a risk in a decade, and look where they're at.
Yeah.
And now it comes, number 3, it's Mac Jones, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, and it all comes down to the 49ers, who are even yet to abandon Jimmy Garoppolo. They haven't said if they're going to move on from Jimmy Garoppolo. Exactly. And then you've got Atlanta. Ellison, you're a big Atlanta guy. And you think they take, Kyle Pitts will still be available there.
I believe they will. I hear this Julio Jones talk of being possibly traded. Now, I'm not too mad because I think Julio should play somewhere better to where he deserves to win.
Yeah.
But, if Julio is still to be here, I think they just, dumb-minded and still want more offensive power than they would defensive power. So it's either going to be, Matt Ryan, you got a year or 2 left, and we're going to bring in Trey Lance and develop him, or we're going to bring in Kyle Pitts. Matt Ryan, you're going to be here until you're 60. So I think that's where the Falcons are looking at so far. And Justin Fields, I would love to have Justin Fields, but I'm assuming Trey Lance in their minds is way better than Justin Fields. So
yeah. Then
it could be a Aaron Rodgers scenario, just like last season when they drafted Love, and he got so frustrated and had one of the best seasons of his career yet, and he's still proving himself to this day, even when he's getting old on the older side of the quarterbacks that are still currently playing in this league. Matt Ryan might have to have that happen to him too. If they draft a quarterback in this first round, you might have to turn on the burners and show why he deserves that first place spot.
Okay, so you got, I think 49ers take Mac Jones. And then, Atlanta, they take Kyle Pitts. That's easy. Kyle Pitts is easy. And maybe Trey Lance. But I think Trey Lance is too much of a question mark for a lot of NFL teams in the first round. You think of Carson Wentz, an FCS guy who was successful, but not every FCS guy is going to be successful. Trey Lance is a very talented prospect, but he scares a lot of teams. Then you still got 4 teams after Atlanta, right? Broncos at 9. Detroit could maybe want a quarterback. You never know. So I really think the only way the Broncos even have a chance of getting Justin Fields is they trade second and probably a 3rd round pick on draft day to Detroit to jump up to number 7.
The Mac Jones one is what bothers me. Because yes, Mac Jones is a good quarterback, but it was the team around him. And I think if he didn't really have that team, because there's been Alabama teams where the quarterback was good, but the whole team wasn't. I just don't know if Mac Jones is really that, oh my gosh, that's the number 3 pick that I need. I think Justin Fields has shown himself to be that number 3, and the 49ers would be making a mistake, especially with the offense they run. That would be like, you would want, more of a, because they do play action and stuff like that, and which led Atlanta to a Super Bowl, and led the 49ers to a Super Bowl, even though they both lost. But I still think they could add Justin Fields because then he can run, and then you have running backs, and now you're just a running offense more than ever. So, but if Mac Jones is who they really want to be with, then
I was just dropping an ideal situation. I think Mac Jones is. It's all question marks. It was a COVID season. Nobody really knows how these guys outside of Trevor Lawrence is going to play. Even Trevor, you never know. That's the scary thing about drafting a quarterback in the first round. There's been honestly more busts than truly successful first round quarterbacks, which is just crazy. We would have seen him. I'm still sad about Joe Burrow, this year. It's when you've got 4 guys in the first round who are potential first day starters, not all of them are going to be successful.
At all.
You talk about Justin Herbert all day long, though. His rookie season was not a bust, and I'm okay with that one.
I give it to him. He was Chargers.
We'll sprinkle in a little bit of Chargers love for you today. Just a little bit of Chargers love,
Just a little bit.
Justin Herbert deserves it. He had a hell of a year.
Yeah, the Dolphins kind of missed out on that opportunity.
A lot of people missed out on that opportunity.
You know, I am very glad that they missed out on that opportunity.
Now, we'll move on to our last topic of this down in the DMs. I want to do something a little bit more fun. So, favorite CSU athlete of all time?
Rachel, you want to go? Or you want me to go?
Sure, I can go first. I was just going to talk about my girl Becky Hammond. Oh my goodness. It probably would be really easy for me to pick a football player, but I cannot disregard everything that she has done with CSU and outside of CSU, with the Spurs becoming the first woman to be a basketball coach in the NBA. I mean, she is constantly breaking records and shattering glass ceilings that are held over her. To this day, she will not stop, and she is not going to stop. She's just getting started. She's one of the most amazing players that CSU has ever seen in my eyes, and for that, she is my favorite player from CSU of all time.
There you go. And you can't choose yourself, Ellison.
Well, if we're going by that, I'll go in with Michael Gallup. He has done amazing things for CSU, and especially the year I came here and I was able to watch that from the sidelines, just helping us win games, catching the balls. I mean, the Cowboys made a great pick with Mike Gallup, and you see it in the NFL. You see those sideline catches, those touchdown passes, catches in the end zone. I mean, what? And then Preston Williams was just like a little, like a mock of him. So I feel like when I watch wide receivers that come in here and do those things, I think of Mike Gallup, because that's how amazing he was to CSU in the football team.
Oh, yeah, it was some Mike magic every weekend. You're watching a game with Michael Gallup, and you're like, man, I wish I could do that. I'll never be able to do that. Like, most people would never be able to do that, but Michael Gallup does it now every week.
Wouldn't that be such a good feeling? Just toe tap on the sideline, with an amazing catch in the freaking NFL game. That'd be so great.
You know, for my favorite, it's a little bit before our time, but during my parents' time, they're gonna be really happy about this one. Bradley Van freaking Pelt, BVP baby, the greatest quarterback in Colorado State history, and probably one of the most iconic moments in Colorado State football history. Rocky Mountain Showdown. The helmet spike against CU, probably the last time we had a dominant win against CU. A top 25 team under his belt every year that he started for CSU. And then, you know, he went to the Broncos and sucked, but Bradley Van Pelt, I mean, I was raised on basically the legends of Bradley Van Pelt. You know, my parents loved him. You know, all of their friends loved him. If you didn't know who Bradley Van Pelt was in Fort Collins, it was like you didn't even like what were you doing? Apparently, that's what I've been told. And now, if you're a CSU, and in my opinion, if you're a CSU fan and if you don't know who Bradley Van Pelt is, you need to grow up a little and figure it out and learn a little bit about the best athlete to ever go to CSU.
I like that one. I really do.
Or maybe not the best, because you know Becky Hammond and
yeah, others.
There's a long history, but probably one of the most exciting athletes to ever go to
Van Dyken, all of them.
Van Dyken.
There's a whole football.
Bum McGraw. Yeah,
exactly.
That's a long time ago. I mean, this is all just sentimental, you know.
Yeah, man.
Well, it's especially sentimental for us, considering this is our last year. Isn't that weird?
Oh,
I think that's very weird. We'll talk about CSU sports long after this, though. Don't worry about that one.
Yeah, actually, you know, we're actually all going to just stop, you know, as soon as May 15th hits. You know, make sure you watch the rest of our content that we've still got coming for the rest of the year. My name is Ethan Bird.
I'm Rachel Hallam.
And I'm Ellison Hubbard.
Thank you so much for tuning in. You know, for all of these times, maybe we'll get another one, maybe we won't. See you later, Rams.